Bills could become the third 5-1 team in the NFL. How do you feel about the way the Bills are playing? And this Falcons defense, are they going to be a problem for Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think this is a difficult matchup for Buffalo and a good matchup for Atlanta. I think so. Number one, in talking to Buffalo, the thing that stood out, because we all thought going into the conversation with them coming off a New England game, was this is a team that's, had their run because they've been great on turnovers and takeaways and really good on penalties. And that wasn't the case against New England. And it was interesting to hear them all talk about how they felt like they just didn't play the way they're phrasing it was, running to the football, helping each other up off the pile, blocking through the whistle. Like they didn't feel they did that against New England. And they were all like, listen, turnovers, that's something we emphasize. It'll take care of itself, not tripping over that. But I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out tonight offensively for Buffalo is like that they don't think that they played the how they play football to their standard last week. Dude, Atlanta's interesting defensively because, for a team that is so young and so talented, like they unapologetically have said they went all in. Like they took that first round pick of next year's trade to go back in and get Pierce from Tennessee. They want to go after teams physically and be like the fastest team defensively in the NFL. And you got Walker and Pierce, they're two rookie defensive ends or outside backers. They believe that as a team and as a staff, like they're just on the cusp of breaking out here and like really starting to turn it on. So they're fast and they're athletic defensively. I want to see how they match up against Buffalo, who just wants to maul you running the football. And then offensively, flipping it, I don't know if I've ever heard a coach talk about running an offense through a running back the way that Atlanta runs their offense through Bijan. They are just like, we run every play through Bijan. Like we want to move them. We want to throw it to them. We can throw them real NFL routes. We can get him in a slot. We can put him as a receiver. We want to throw him screens. We want to hand it off to him. We would snap it to him if we could. And so, Buffalo's got a defense that has struggled against the run. If Oliver plays tonight, that's huge. But I think Atlanta can have success running the football against them tonight. And this is the number 1 and number 2 offense in the NFL when it comes to time of possession. So I think like possessions will be huge for both offenses trying to score points and obviously being good in the red zone.
Did you say Bijan? Because I think I say Bijan.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying Bijan.
I have absolutely no clue the right way to say it.
You're there. You met him. Did you not? You're acting like a journalist.
I think. He came out this year, I think, and said, I think it's how Dan has said it, because we've been saying
Bijan now.
Yeah. So
Bijan.
Bijan's
sick. It's a good, that sounds sweet.
I mean, if you go for like the pronunciation thing on my board
what's that called? What's that called if you had to guess? If you had to guess what the pronunciation thing is called on your board, just what that is described as.
The pronunciation thing?
Good shit.
But here, for his name, it's Beezhan. So
that would be Bijan.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there's one person that makes all those boards, and that one person, I think, missed the one interview that Bijan potentially did whenever he talked about that. Let's talk about the other side. You talk about Bijan being every single position for him. James Cook, since Joe Brady has become the offense coordinator, has been cooking his ass off. What's the prop that you found tonight for James Cook in the first quarter, Conrad?
He currently is plus 144 to have over half a receiving yard in the first quarter.
That feels right. Like with James Cook, do you think tonight, I mean, obviously Atlanta's defense, you just talked about how good they can be, and you think it's a problem potentially for the Bills. Are we going to get some magic tonight, you think, especially with how Atlanta views Bijan and Josh Allen's in prime time? I mean, is there over under 49.5? Obviously, that's a lot of points. Do we feel, is that how you feel, and is it what they're expecting?
Yeah, I do think it's an offensive football game. I really do. I think because if you think about it from Buffalo's perspective and Cook, right? I don't know necessarily how Atlanta is going to come out defensively and play. Atlanta is coming off of the bye, and again, young pieces on their defense. You could sit there and live in the world where you want to play zone and keep everything in front of you versus Josh Allen. You're going to get smoked. This is offensive line that's one of the best in the NFL. They'll just continue to hand it off to Cook, and Josh has become elite at that. And so then there's the reality of like, okay, well, you got to go challenge them. And you might sit there and say Buffalo doesn't have a guy on the outside that scares you that much, but then Buffalo's so good at motions and Shakir and Cook out of the backfield and Kincaid. And so I think that's going to be interesting tonight is watch how Atlanta wants to try and play Buffalo defensively. And I talked about it before. I think Atlanta's offense, dude, 6 first-round picks on their offense. 6. I mean, they're so talented and they could run the football so well. And Buffalo's defense really struggles against stopping the run. Again, no Ed Oliver the past couple weeks. Ed's a big deal. Yep. But if Milano doesn't play, that's a huge deal for their linebacking core. And so I just think Atlanta can have a lot of success running the football as well. And I think this could be a very high-scoring game, yeah.
D-But's got the last question about your game tonight.
Yeah, you're talking about the run game and how they're using Bajan, number 7, back in the backfield. What are you seeing from Michael Penix Jr.? We know exactly who Josh Allen is, but what are you seeing from Michael Penix? I know they run a ton of pistol. I don't know how you feel about that now, but how do you feel about that offense as a whole with Michael Penix being the trigger man?
Yeah, they run pistol twice more than anybody in the NFL. I've kind of shared my thoughts on it. I understand the pros, and I believe that there are cons to it. I think Michael is still really young when it comes to NFL reps. Obviously, everyone knows really big arm down the field. He's more accurate down the field than he is closer in those short passing range or passing routes. And so he finally hit some of those 2 weeks ago against Washington. I'd like him to move Michael a little bit more. I feel like Michael kind of catches the ball in that shotgun and pistol world. And when number 1 is there, I would tell you this, D-But, I think he's throwing the ball like 5th fastest in the NFL. And then also, I think he's been hit this year 2nd least in the NFL behind Sam Darnold. So for a guy that's kind of a big-armed, big-bodied guy to throw the ball downfield, they don't do it a ton. And so it's a little bit more of a catch and throw offense, at least through 4 or 5 weeks of this season. I'd like to see more play action. I'd like to see them try to stretch the field vertically. I'd like to see them move him off of that launch point. You know, this is a defender. Like if a quarterback's catching, 40 snaps a game and throwing it, and 38 of them are just kind of that 5 yards behind the center, I just think that's advantage defense. And so I'd like to see them throwing the ball a little bit more. The thing I'll be paying attention to the most for him tonight is in their short passing game, everything under 10 yards, can he have elite focus and ball placement on those things like it's the 40-yarder downfield? Because the big throws downfield, he's really good. But those short throws right now, I think that's something he has to be really good at. And they think that he really has to grow in for them.
Fernando Mendoza, for instance. Yeah. He's putting that ball on a face mask basically every single time somebody's running there. The elite accuracy is what you're referring to. We're not saying Penix doesn't have that. He does. And that's what was so special about that Washington run. He was thinking about the Roman Empire all the time and dropping that thing into a bucket. Scout. The easy ones seemingly are always the problem because that's like the high-focus ones. It happened to me. I think it happens to a lot of people in different jobs. It's like, this seems easy. Don't let your brain win. Don't let your brain win. You still got to have incredible stuff. There's another Monday Night Football game on tonight that you will not be able to watch in real time, but I'm sure tomorrow morning you'll have full takes about the entire 4 quarters. AJ has a question about the Bears and Commanders.
Tonight.
Yes, tonight when you're watching the Bears Commanders on your flight home, when you're rewatching, I guess, what should us in real time, when we're watching this game, what should we be paying attention to? We know Caleb has been playing well. The Bears on a 2-game win streak. They seem to figure some things out. What will you be paying attention to?
And you didn't deserve that.
Yeah, I probably did. Number 1, how does Caleb play under pressure? That's been the area that he's grown the most in this year. This whole offseason, AJ, it was everything about Caleb's got to play in rhythm and in timing, and he's got to play faster. If you kind of watch his tape and then you look at every single number that has value to it, he's actually playing a little bit slower than he did last year. The only area that he's playing faster in is dealing with the pressure. He's playing not only faster, but much better, making much better decisions. The ball is coming out of his hands quicker. I think there's a lot more answers to their offense. Armstrong for Washington as a pass rusher has been very good, Dorrance Armstrong. So how does Caleb handle pressure? I think it's advantage matchup-wise. Chicago, I've talked about this, and D-Butt knows it. Washington's defensively living in a little bit of a world of they want to be a man coverage defense. I don't believe they have the horses to play that style that they want right now. And if they do, there's advantages for your tight ends and your backs in the pass game. There just are. There's advantages to take shots downfield, because they have defensive backs that want to make plays on the football. So you can take shots with double moves and whatnot. So does Chicago hit some shots down the field on a double move? Do the tight ends and backs have a lot of success in the pass game? And then for Chicago defensively, you better handle Washington's 4-by-1 stuff. Washington gets in these 4-by-1 formations and they stretch you sideline to sideline horizontally, and there will be a sixth offensive lineman on the field when they're doing it. It's kind of like how much I love what Pittsburgh's doing offensively with their stuff. And all of a sudden you get like a run at you with six offensive linemen. Jaden could be a runner, and then you could have a perimeter screen. It's like you're getting this vertical stretch and this horizontal stretch at the same time. So I think how Chicago's defense handles that.
Cliff Kingsbury in his bag, bruh.
Yeah.
You know, what's the guy's name? Hal Mummy?
Yes.
The air raid.
Yeah, Mummy.
Yep.
Cliff kind of comes from that world, doesn't he?
Yes.
Got that entire thing spread out.
Bleach,
Take a couple college setups, put it into the NFL. Then also we got a quarterback that can handle absolutely everything. We got a couple great matchups here on Monday Night Football.
we do.
Hell yeah.
I mean, legitimately, these are very good matchups. Caleb Jaden's awesome. Can't wait for that. Would watch
Next
that
week,
anytime. And then obviously Bills Falcons. You got a doubleheader next week as well?
Yeah, doubleheader next week. Tampa at Detroit and Houston at Seattle.
Okay. Okay, we're starting to hit it. We're
Prime time ball.
football's
Oh,
finding its rhythm. We can't wait to watch both of those games. You just mentioned a team right there that you didn't have a lot of positive to say going in. We started to wonder if you had maybe personal gripes against a couple people that are maybe in that building. You just said something positive, and you put one of your like cryptic tweets. ... out. Go ahead, Tone.
Yep, Dan, I was say I will bite. You did do one of those things where you put out the tweet where no one knows what the hell you're talking about. It could be bad, could be good, could be somewhere in the middle. So I just wanted to, get your opinion on what this meant.
I really, really like Pittsburgh's offense right now.
Whoa!
Damn.
Dang, that's Artie Smith and Aaron Rodgers over there.
Darnell
You know
Williams
that?
in football, baby.
Mount Washington.
It's really, really, really impressive. It's like I think the way there's no question they know who they are, their identity, what they should and should not do. This first play of the game, I love it. So like the way I kind of categorize the offense after a couple weeks now is like it's creatively cautious, and that's meant as a positive and a compliment. Here's the way I view it right now. They started this 6 offensive line package where there's 6 offensive linemen on the field, and sometimes there's 1 tight end, sometimes there's 2 tight ends. This is like 3 or 4 weeks of it. Now, when they started it, there was really only 1 play out of it, right? They're doing a lot of this. I'm going to get to this. There's only 1 play out of it. Yesterday, they had 6 different plays out of that 6 offensive line package. So, like, I love when teams take simple things and just make them look complicated to the defense. So now they're doing things, at least from an offensive perspective, is simple for them, but it's complicated to the defense. I think the second thing is this, and D-Buck could speak to it a little bit more from a defensive perspective, Tone, than I can, but like their pass game is really one of 2 things. It's either quick game, like right now it's happening, and if you play zone, Aaron's finding a completion. If you play man, it's one-on-one, or they're moving the pocket. They're getting Aaron outside. And so it's that's the cautious element of it. And the thing is, they see it so well. Like if you're going to play DK one-on-one in their quick game, Aaron's going to throw it to DK. And they just think that they'll get those creatives or explosives out of that. But rarely do you see them just drop Aaron back in the middle pocket, hold. It's just not who they are. I think it's really, really, really smart offensive football in Pittsburgh right now. Very impressed.
And it all revolves around how do we keep Aaron alive here?
Yes.
You know, because the offensive line was not great early. It's like how do we even know if Aaron's a good quarterback for us if he can't do anything because he can't protect him? Well, we got a 6'7", 320-pound tight end that we can add in here. They start doing that jumbo package basically on every play.
Yeah, man.
And then basically say, hey, now we can protect him. Let's start drawing up plays. This might be the evolution of football here. This might become the next step, especially with how easy they've made it look and how good they've made it look. This is the best Aaron Rodgers has looked in years.
Yeah.
This is the best an Artie Smith offense has looked in years. This is the best the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has looked in years, and they're doing it in their own way, which I think is special.
Yeah, and I think it all kind of really starts with Darnell Washington and how they could use him, because he's obviously an offensive tackle that runs like a tight end, and you saw it on the first play there yesterday. So he's playing like 90% of the snaps now, and then you got Jonnu, who they're getting a lot of end arounds with and doing some quick stuff with and screens too, which is awesome. And then Spencer Anderson is the 6th offensive lineman that they bring in. He had 17 snaps, I believe, yesterday. So yeah, they know who they are. They are not, like Dan said, there is no 5, 7-step drop straight back where Aaron has a chance to get clobbered off the edge.
AJ, tell me. Hold on, Dan. One quick thing here. AJ, tell me about Aaron moving, bro. Like legit, because at the beginning, and I think last year with the Achilles, I think there was a lot of people calling him old. He takes a lot of pride in his old athleticism, does he not, AJ?
Yeah, he's got that sneaky athleticism too. You know, whatever you play, he can play basketball, dodgeball, whatever you do, he can do it. So yeah, I think we're seeing him. It seems like he feels very, very healthy. He's moving around well, man. That's the thing. I think people going in weren't real worried if he could move and elude any pressure, and he obviously can.
Go ahead, Dano. Sorry about it.
No, I think the premise of their offense right now is just being very efficient. And that's why I go to that 6 offensive line, tight end, or double tight end package is, their philosophy is, hey, let's get 4 or 5 yards. Because then they can get into a quick game. And if they're going to play zone, it's a first down. Because Aaron's seen so many defenses and he knows the vacancy of zone. And then it now, like as I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is why we trade for DK, because then we're just creating all these one-on-ones. There's not a lot of teams that are going to be able to cover DK one-on-one. And, you're just constantly moving Aaron. And so it is a reality where like they do not want to be in 3rd and long. And no team really wants to, but it's just a conscious effort of them constantly being like, let's be efficient. I really, last year they were doing some, like having some success. And you guys remember me saying like, hey, it ain't good enough on offense. It's not going to beat teams that actually matter. I feel differently about this group. Like I watched this offense for the past 3 weeks and I go, this offense can be good enough to beat a Buffalo, a Kansas City, an Indy. Because they're efficient. They're efficient, man.
Aaron Rodgers currently sitting at 150-1 to win the MVP.
Oh man,
they're currently 4-1.
Yeah.
If they have 13-14 wins, and Aaron Rodgers brings the Pittsburgh Steelers back into playoff and Super Bowl contention, there's going to be a lot of buzz around Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP. He's not the only player, though. There's a lot of guys making their run for it right now.
Yeah, Dan, you could argue that Dak Prescott is playing the best football of his career, and unfortunately the Cowboys give up 40 to 50 points every week. So is that basically their recipe for success? It's like, hey, Dak, we're going to need you to throw 6 touchdowns every week, to give us just a sliver of a chance to win. And then on the flip side, Bryce Young and the Panthers, is that the type of win you think that could finally kind of turn the tide for that entire franchise? Because that was massive.
Yeah, I was so impressed with what Carolina did yesterday. I was so impressed with, their offensive line, I promise you, it will be on AQ's top 5 group. I'd be surprised if they're not number 1. Oh. They kicked the absolute crap out of Dallas's defensive front in their double team game. Their double teams were just, you rarely see in that league where double teams literally move defensive tackles 5, 6, 7 yards down the field. They were moving people at the line of scrimmage. I wrote down the name, number 87 too, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but Bryson Tremaine for them as a blocker, as a wide receiver blocker, was absolutely off the charts with their tight ends. Thought Bryce was really good. Tet McMillan looks so smooth. Tet McMillan, don't overthink it, guys. When you watch, he looks so smooth. Rico was outstanding. They dominated at the line of scrimmage. I think it's a huge win for them, absolutely. Now, they get a little bit momentum going in Carolina. I'll say this about Dallas. I don't think Dallas can I think Dallas has to adopt the Detroit philosophy with Dan Campbell. I really don't believe anything less than 4th and 4 they should not go for. They should go for everything 4th and 4 or less. Your defense is not a good unit. It's not going to get better. Teams know it. It's a good offense. Dak is playing good. George was outstanding yesterday. He's making himself a ton of money. I really don't believe, once you get into scoring position, Aubrey's sensational. I think Dallas should be 80% going for it on 4th and 5 or less.
How about onside kicks, too? Just do it.
Might as well.
I don't think you can. Oh, you can nowadays, right? As long as you declare it.
Now you're losing, though. You got to be losing, I think.
But no matter the time of the game, if you're losing, you can do it in the first quarter if you're down.
I think so, yes. Yeah. I think if you're losing, you're allowed to do it. I think they changed the rule from the 4th quarter to open it up because I think teams were like, well, there might be a time where to be able to get the ball back, because if they start on the 50 or if they start on the 35, it doesn't matter. It's 3 plays. Yeah. So there's a chance that has been taken from us with this new kickoff rule. I will say, though, there's more electricity from the kickoff rule. And I will say this about the Carolina Panthers. Rico Dowdell coming into our lives, being who he is awesome. How did he describe this Dallas Cowboys defense where he said all he wanted to do was get a win against them boys because he's playing there again?
They weren't buckled up.
They need to be buckled up, and if they're not buckled up, we're not punting. We're going for onside kicks.
I love it.
Connor has the last question for you here, Dano.
Yeah, Dano, love when you say yesterday it's the best. But Justin Fields and the Jets, it's been quite the scene. I think a lot of us thought at the beginning of the season maybe Aaron Glenn is rowing in the right direction. Maybe Fields and Garrett. But what do you think about that whole entire situation? Are they just going to sell everybody? Brees Hall to the Chiefs, Garrett Wilson to, I don't know, the Bucks. Like, do you expect that to happen? Because Pat actually apologized to all of England because this wasn't football. It was the most disgusting thing that's ever been graced solely on its own as its own game without anything else on. It was the worst display of football I think the NFL's ever put on. Actual stat, 7 less first downs in the history of international football.
Yeah, that offensive tape was a total disaster. It's as bad as an offensive tape as I've watched in years. I'm surprised because I really enjoyed time with them a couple weeks ago having Monday Night Football and was really impressed with Aaron Glenn. It's not equating to wins right now, so I can't defend that. But that offensive tape was absolutely terrible. Garrett Wilson's career is like dying there. He's being wasted talent-wise. I've defended Justin a lot, and I don't think yesterday's performance is totally on Justin. But Garrett's open. Like Garrett's open on tape yesterday, and we like. My thing is this with dude, if it's man coverage, just throw the ball to him. I don't care what the route says. I don't care what the read says. If it's man coverage, throw him the ball. And we're like the final play of the game, throw him the ball. And so the Jets got a really difficult situation right now because it's not going well offensively. Here's the thing also. They paid the perimeter before they paid the front.
Yep.
Really. Like they paid Sauce and they paid Garrett. They're two really, really, really good players. I don't necessarily know if that's the best way to go about rebuild. I think they have to entertain trading everybody of value. Absolutely, because you're 0-7 or 0-6, and it doesn't look promising.
Yeah, and they're trying to turn it around anyways. They're trying to change the entire culture. And remember, Aaron Glenn told Aaron Rodgers, go ahead and pack it up and get the hell out of the building. And
I just don't know, Pat, when the player says it. Like if you're Garrett Wilson, you've done 5 or 6 years of this now.
Just signed a new deal.
He's paid now.
Just signed a new deal. Just signed a new deal. This is just like Myles Garrett. I think it's hard for people to find any empathy for Myles Garrett because he wanted to go somewhere. Remember, he wrote the entire letter about saying it's not just about being all pro or something like that. I want to win games. And then everybody's like, oh, Myles Garrett's leaving. Myles Garrett's leaving. Then he gets $40 million a year, resets the entire market. It's like, all right, Myles Garrett knows what he's signing up for whenever he goes to Cleveland Browns, which is the same thing Joe Thomas signed up for, even though, he wanted to win. I'm not saying they don't deserve to win because of how great of the football players they are, but I think it's just like Tyreek going to Miami. When Tyreek decided to go to Miami and get the biggest check, it's hard to have any empathy. It's like, hey, you decided to leave and go get more money. You made that decision to chase the bag. I think that is, it's hard for people to feel empathy for that. Like Garrett just signed a deal.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fair point. I understand all that.
Holy shit!
Breaking.
Adam Schefter told us in the last hour, I don't forecast any coaches getting fired anytime in the near future, but there's a chance that I get off this call and I get a text and somebody's been fired. They have.
We can guess it.
Callahan fired. Tennessee Titans.
You didn't guess it.
Can we would like to say, Coach Callahan, obviously following Mike Vrabel down there in Nashville, from what I've learned about the people of Nashville and how they felt about Mike Vrabel, not only the coach, but the human he was and how connected he was to the community, and obviously the unceremonious exit that he had from the Tennessee Titans, and then also being able to earn the #1 seed for the Tennessee Titans in the AFC when he had like 100 guys on the IR. Like Vrabel was, I think, beloved by Titans fans. I think there wasn't a lot of positive. I think Vrabel was certainly one of them in the community. So whenever he's just kind of kicked to the curb and then Callahan's brought in and it goes the way it goes, and then Ryan obviously, and it goes the way it goes, I think this guy was swimming upstream a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously it didn't work out. And the way he handled, I think, in like kind of represented the Titans, I don't think a lot of people in the community were like, we just went from Vrabel to this guy getting into a Paul Kuharsky every day. So not that Vrabel didn't get into it with Paul Kuharsky, but Vrabel also put the pads on, punch people, won games, and everything like that. So I think this was kind of a, is the fit still a thing that is obtainable? And then also, how's the product on the field? They've been not fun to watch. Like Cam Ward, fun to watch. He's been miserable. This might help him out, actually. This might make his life a lot better, even though it has to certainly suck. First firing of the NFL season, Dano, you thought it was going to be maybe Miami? Is that what you thought?
I'm not giving away what I thought, but
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
I mean, I know Cali. I've played for Cali. It's a results business. They were bad. God bless Cam Ward. This is why quarterbacks fail, man. Now, first year of the NFL doesn't matter, and it's a coaching search. Everything will be about Cam Ward.
Well,
they got to get a lot more talent on this roster. But it'll be all about Cam Ward. The next hire will be all about Cam Ward.
AJ Callahan was 4-19 as a head coach with the Tennessee Titans, and obviously, if he won the next 15, he'd be at 500. That seems like a little bit of a tall task. Is that what the Titans are? Go ahead, Dano.
No, let my brain think for a second of coaching replacements.
Okay,
I
go
can't
ahead.
wait to see Dano, you go through the list in your head of who is going to take the job for the Tennessee Titans. I guess, Dan, who do you think they will be targeting here?
That's a good question,
Great
AJ.
question,
Yeah.
AJ.
That's a good question, AJ.
Yeah. I mean, immediately, this is off the top of my head.
Okay.
I would go Joe Brady, offensive coordinator from Buffalo. He's unbelievably thorough and deep. I don't know, Gruden. I hear Gruden's name constantly.
Gruden, Nashville.
Gruden wants to be back in coaching. Like, I've heard that from
Still have
multiple
stuff
people
with
that he
NFL
desperately
going?
wants to be back in coaching.
DC for the
I think-
Chargers.
Clint
Minter.
Kubiak has been great. Minter from the Chargers defensively. But you got to, with those ones, like, you got to make sure that the offensive coordinator is a stud, because everything's going to be about Cam Ward.